Hey everyone, this is Hendricks with Rush SPT. This is the second video in the pre-physical therapy playlist. This will discuss how much is too much, referring to the finances of applications and PT schools in general. So I want to set this up as tuition versus entry-level salary versus debt that you will accumulate through PT school. So the first thing is tuition. This can vary humongously from $10,000 a year to upwards of $60,000, maybe an $80,000 a year. So you have to consider that when you're going into PT school. Is it worth it to you? That's a personal decision. There are debt calculators. I will attach one in the description below so you can play with those numbers and see what your range is as far as what you're willing to pay and feel comfortable paying depending on the entry-level salary. So that brings me to the salaries when you come out. There's a lot of data, statistical data, so not saying you can't have outliers either above or below the averages, but usually you can look at the averages for your area or for your state. An entry level is typically anywhere from 70 to 85% of that average in the area. So like I said, can be higher, can be lower, but that's a good number or a good range to look at when you're considering the tuition versus the entry level salary. So maybe you feel comfortable going to a program or a university that has a higher tuition because you're planning on working in an area that does have a higher entry level salary. These are the things you need to look at in weighing the options of what programs fit my range, what entry-level salaries, where would I need to work, what setting, whether it be home health or travel that make a little more money coming out. Do I feel comfortable working in those settings so I'm able to live comfortably outside of my job? So talking about debt next, debt is directly reflective of the tuition that you had to pay when you were in school as well as the entry-level salary. So depending on how much you can pay back per month, your salary, and how much you owe your tuition and all the expenses with PT school, that will directly reflect how much debt you will have, what you will need to do, the strategies that you will have to take on in order to get rid of that debt and pay it off over a period of time. So there's debt calculators. I will also connect or link one of those to the description that you can play with the numbers and see what will work for you, what you're willing to do as far as when you come out, and what's reasonable is how much you can pay back per month, per year, and how to solve those problems. So I don't want to talk all money, money, money like expensive is always bad. I also want to bring up the point that sometimes the value is there, and this is a 2-point that I want to make, that value can be found in the education itself or in the network that you're building at that university. So are you going to a university where the education might be a step above other programs? They have professors that are established, do incredible research, are well known within the PT community, are very active in the APTA. All these things add value to the education that you're receiving. Again, the network also adds value to a particular program. So you're meeting those professors, you're meeting the same caliber students that go to that university and become those professors or become those active members of the APTA and the profession once they graduate. So the value can be found in the network, it can be found in the professors and the education that you're getting, but factor in, is that worth paying the extra amount, accumulating the extra debt, and seeing how that plays into your future as a healthcare professional. So all things you need to consider when you're going in. So look into these, play with the calculator as far as the range that you're comfortable with as far as tuition, the areas, the settings that you'd be willing to work in after you graduate, and see how that reflects on the programs that you choose to apply to. So these are some of the topics that I wish I would have known when I was in pre-PT, when I was in undergraduate studies, and hopefully it helps you. Let me know any other things that you feel are useful for students in your same scenario, and I hope to hear from you soon.